Rangers, Hurricanes. The matchup pretty much everybody expected, and now we've got it. Let's talk about it. Well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Wa2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. If you're brand new, welcome aboard. Please like and subscribe. If you're returning, welcome back. I appreciate everybody's support. So, Rangers versus Hurricanes. This was the matchup pretty much everybody expected. You only wish it could have happened in the Eastern Conference Finals, but that's the NHL playoff bracket for you. And the Rangers finished off Washington in 4 games. It was a sweep. I wanted it done in 5 games or less. Rangers did one better. Carolina had to deal with a little bit better challenge, I felt, from the Islanders. They did end it in 5 games. Islanders really did battle Carolina well, but to me there really was never too much doubt about who was going to win both these series. So the inevitable showdown happens again, and of course it happens just as I'm in the process of moving to Raleigh, North Carolina. I will be down there just in time for Game 3. So of course this would happen, but let's break down this matchup. So these teams are no strangers to one another. They've met twice in the playoffs before. The Canes swept the Rangers in the 2020 COVID bubble in a best-of-5 series. And then 2 years ago, of course, the Rangers beat Carolina in 7 games in their building in the second round. I was fortunate enough to be there, and that was basically a party the entire game. So that was the first time Carolina had lost a home playoff game during that entire run. It was an amazing night, but now the Hurricanes, will not have home ice advantage, and now they want to return the favor to the Rangers. And of course, we got a lot of interesting links between these teams. Peterlaviolette, who is the Rangers head coach, won his only Stanley Cup with the Hurricanes all the way back in 2006, and his captain on that team was a center named Rodbrindamour, of course, now the Carolina coach. Chrisdrury is the Rangers general manager. He is the uncle of young Canes center Jackdrury, who, by the way, had a goal and 2 assists in the first round. Another one of these young players that Carolina seems to be developing very, very well. Vincenttrocheck, that's probably the biggest difference between 2 years ago and now. He played parts of 3 years in Carolina before signing with the Rangers right after that 2022 playoff series ended. Trocheck has been one of the best free agent signings, and I think he gets a little bit overlooked because of artemipanarin and how great he is, but I don't know where this team would be without Trocheck. He has turned the Rangers almost by himself from a perpetually horrible face-off team to one of the best in the entire league. He won 71.2% of his face-offs in the first round. That's best in the playoffs so far. That is just nuts. He provides the scoring, he provides the grit, and some would even say he is the Rangers' best center. That could certainly be a debatable point, but the fact that he is not on Carolina anymore is enormous. And Trocheck had 6 points in the first round, second only to Mikazibanejad, 7. He knows how to get under his opponent's skin. It'll be interesting to see what he's able to do with some of his old teammates in this series. And you've got some ex-Rangers down in Carolina as well. The Rangers, Carolina loves bringing in ex-Rangers. They had Derek Stepan back in the day. Of course, Tonydeangelo is there right now. He is the team's 7th defenseman, although he is currently playing. Bradyskjei, former first-round pick. Now, jesperfast, I'm going to get into this more. This is a big loss for them. He is out with a neck injury, and he actually got hurt in the meaningless last game of the regular season that Carolina played against Columbus. He basically blew a tire and crashed into the boards, suffered a neck injury. Terrible injury for him, but it's one player that I'm glad the Rangers will not have to see in this series, because Fast is one of those two-way wingers who is built for playoff hockey. He knows how to win battles, along the boards. He helps make players around him better, and he will check pretty much in any zone that you want him to, and once in a while he even scores a big goal that you wouldn't expect. So Fast is a piece that Carolina will most definitely miss. And the teams have many similarities just looking at this season. The Rangers have 14 players back from their 2022 team. The Canes have 18. Rangers had 5 players that registered 70 points and 6 players who had 50 in artemipanarin, vincenttrocheck, chriskreider, Adam Fox, mikazibanejad, and alexislafreniere, who broke the 50-point barrier. Carolina has 5 players with 50 points or more, including Sebastianaho, 36 goals. Sethjarvis has 33 goals, plus he had 7 points in the first round. Gotta watch out for Sethjarvis. Teuvo Teravainen had 26 goals, Martin Necas, 24, and andreisvechnikov with 19. Both teams have amazing depth at center. The Rangers have Zibanejad, Trocheck, Alex Wennberg, and Barclay Goodrow, but remember, filipchytil could come back in if the Rangers deem it that he's ready to go, or if they need a little bit of spark, and I have a good feeling some point during the series we will see filipchytil. I am making that bold prediction right now. Carolina's got Sebastianaho, evgenikuznetsov, who they got from Washington, and tends to be a very good playoff performer, Jordanstaal, who we're going to talk about, Jackdrury, and Kotkaniemi, who is actually playing on the wing currently. So they got great depth as well. Both teams have struggled a little bit more 5-on-5. Both teams play with a lot of speed and aggression. Rangers forward Jimmy Vesey said about Carolina, quote, they could be a pain to play against if you're not breaking their pressure. They play with a lot of pace and a lot of forecheck, not necessarily bone-crunching hits, so we've got to be mentally sharp and be ready for that, end quote. But I think the Rangers have better puck handlers than the Hurricanes do, generally speaking, so to me that makes them a little bit of a faster team and a more efficient team. But then there is the biggest similarity of all, and it's special teams. Carolina has the best combination of power play and penalty kill in hockey. Now, the Rangers placed 3rd in the league in both those categories. Carolina, though, finished 1st in penalty kill. They killed 86% of opposing power plays, and they finished 2nd in power play percentage, 26.9%. That's only about a half a point ahead of the Rangers. Now, in the first round, both teams were terrific with a man advantage. Rangers scored on 37.5% of their power plays, Hurricanes 33.3%, but the Rangers had a much better penalty kill. They killed 88% of the Washington power plays, as opposed to Carolina, who killed just 72.7% of the Islander power plays. And when you have teams that are this even, 5-on-5, defense, goaltending, all of that, Rangers have home ice. Special teams, when they're both that elite, will make an enormous difference. Now let's talk injuries for a moment. Carolina's got a few more questions, I think, than the Rangers do. Tonydeangelo left Game 5 after taking a slash to the arm from Pierre Engvall. X-rays came back negative. He should be ready to go for Game 1 on Sunday. Brettpesce is one of the more underappreciated defensemen that Carolina has. He got hurt in Game 2, lower body injury. He has been in a walking boot, but according to their GM, donwaddell, he is now out of the walking boot. The expectation is right now Pesce will return to the series, but he is not practicing yet. So I'm thinking maybe about midway through the series, Pesce comes back into the lineup alongside bradyskjei. And jesperfast is out, as I've already talked about. For the Rangers, the biggest question remains filipchytil, who played only 10 games this year. When will he be ready to come back? Because he's got to come back and play a fast-paced game against Carolina. When do you insert him? And if you do, who comes out? And to me, it has to be mattrempe. And I know his energy matters. We know the fans love him. But we learned in the Washington series, he is a marked man. Not just by the opponents, but by the officials as well. They are looking for any opportunity they can to put Rempe in the penalty box, and you cannot be putting Carolina on the power play too many times in this series. And you also look at the nature of how the Capitals play. They were all about muckers and grinders, doing everything they could to slow down the Rangers. So Rempe made sense in that matchup when you play against a Tom Wilson type player. I don't think he makes sense against Carolina. He was only playing to begin with 5-6 minutes a game against Washington. What would he play against Carolina? Maybe one shift a period? That might be it. So to me, I just don't think it makes a lot of sense to play Rempe. At the same time, though, I don't want to see Johnny Brodzinski. I still remember one game earlier this season where the Canes made him look clueless when the Canes just embarrassed the Rangers 6-2 at Madison Square Garden, and Brodzinski was creating turnover after turnover. And the Canes offense, I think the Canes scored twice right off Brodzinski turnovers. So I like him. He's a nice little player. I don't want to see him in this series against Carolina. All right, now I'll give you a wild card for each team. For Carolina, it's jakeguentzel. Carolina acquired him at the deadline. The Rangers were interested in getting him as well, but the Hurricanes had a little bit more to give in terms of draft capital, and he has thrived. All right, he has scored 8 goals and had 17 assists in 17 regular season games. In the first round, he added a goal and 3 assists, and it's no season. If you look back at his time at Pittsburgh, going all the way back to his rookie season, this guy thrives in the playoffs. 62 points in 63 career playoff games, but not only that, in those 63 career playoff games, he has 8 game-winning goals. That is super impressive. All right, so the Rangers are going to have to keep him accountable as he's skating on the top line with Sebastianaho and andreisvechnikov. And for the Rangers, I'm going to be paying attention. I want to go a little bit under the radar. The Alex Wennberg, willcuylle, and Kakko third line. Now, this was a very good line against the Capitals, even if they didn't generate a lot of points. Kakko had a goal in Game 5. Wennberg didn't score at all. He didn't have a single point, actually. But this line possessed the puck very well. They forechecked very effectively, especially Cooley, and they were possessing the puck oftentimes. And if this line, I don't know which line this line's going to go against, but if they're possessing the puck, if they're going against, say, the Aho line, for instance, and they're able to possess the puck and keep the puck away from Aho, Guentzel, and Svechnikov, that is going to be a major, major help for the Rangers. All right, but I want to focus on one other matchup here that I think is going to be a big deal. It is the Mikazibanejad line for the Rangers against the jordanstaal line for the Hurricanes. Now, Mikazibanejad did not register a single point in the 3 regular season games that the Rangers and Hurricanes played this year. And a large part of that is because Jordan Staal, the Canes captain, is one of the best defensive centers in hockey. Now, rodbrindamour likes to use a checking line to go against the other team's top line. Staal has always anchored it, and on his wings right now he has Teuvo Teravainen and Sethjarvis. Now, those 2 wingers are a little more offensively focused. Jesperfast would have been on this line if he wasn't hurt. All right, so I think that's going to hurt them a little bit. But this is also why finding a way to unlock the Zibanejad, Kreider, and Jack Roslovic line is going to be huge. They finished the Capitals series with the expected goals for rate of 45.25%. Basically, what that means is it was the worst among the Rangers' fourth line in terms of generating goal-scoring opportunities. So in this matchup, they got to figure out some way to get the Zibanejad line going, and against Jordan Staal, that's not going to be easy. Or the other option Brindamour has is to use that Staal line against Panarin, Trocheck, and Lafreniere. As we know, that line has scored 54 regular season goals, more than any other line in the NHL. We mentioned that on the show before. So what will the Canes do as far as that goes? That is going to be a big decision for them. And then you get to the goalies. Now, Igor Shesterkin was excellent in the first round, made a lot of doorstep saves against Washington, had a 1.75 goals against average and a .931 save percentage, sparkling. Now, during the regular season against the Canes, he had a 2.34 goals against and went 2-1, including a shutout. Of course, Jonathan Quick is the backup. He's got multiple Stanley Cup rings, but Shesterkin's got to maintain his level of play in this series. Now, as for Carolina, you got Frederik Andersen, 34 years old. He started all 5 playoff games Carolina has played, and he's dominated. A 4-1 record, 2.25 goals against, .912 save percentage. Now, Andersen missed a large chunk of the season after he was found to have a blood clot issue back in November. So in 16 regular season starts this year, Andersen has gone 13-2. He came out of another game, 13-2 with a 1.84 goals against. Can he keep that level of play up? Big deal in this series. But in front of the Carolina defense, which, when it's anchored by Jacob Slavin and Brettburns, that's a pretty good start. When you have Dmitry Orlov, who's an excellent defenseman as well, that helps also. But there was also some thoughts that Brindamour would give some playoff starts to Peter Kochetkov, who went 23-13-4 this year, but Andersen has played so well that has not even been an option. But if Andersen does cool off, Kochetkov would be a good plan B as well, just like the Rangers do have with Jonathan Quick. And you think about 2 years ago, the Rangers had to solve Antti Niemi because Andersen was hurt. It's not going to be the same situation this time around. Carolina has better goaltending than they did before. I would say the Rangers still have the advantage, but it's not as pronounced as it's been in years past. All right, so with all that in mind, what is my prediction for the series? Well, the Canes are favored to win. This is an all-in year for Carolina. They've been a very good team for several years, but they've never got to the finals. It's their 6th straight year in the playoffs. They've lost in the Eastern Conference Finals twice, the second round twice, and the first round twice. And that's why they went out and they got Jakeguentzel. That's why they got evgenikuznetsov, players who have thrived in the playoffs before. You know, Waddell, I think, is looking at this team as a last chance opportunity. There are still rumors rodbrindamour could leave the Hurricanes. His contract is up. Right now it's leaning that he's going to stay, but you never really know. And not only that, Carolina has 15 free agents after this season. You know, just the undrafted free agents on defense: bradyskjei, brettpesce, tonydeangelo, Jalen Hatfield. Plus, after next year, brettburns, Dmitry Orlov, and Jacob Slavin are all unrestricted free agents. And then at forward, jakeguentzel, Jordan Martinook, Stefan Nason, they're unrestricted free agents as well. And then you got your restricted free agents who are going to get big raises. Necas, Jackdrury, Sethjarvis this year is making under $1 million. He's in line to make $5 or $6 million a year going forward. So if they don't win this series, I think Carolina is going to make some major changes. But it's also about those matchups. And the Rangers, they're going to have to really transition their game to combat a speedy, skilled team after slogging through a very physical series against Washington. All right? And I think what scares me the most as a Rangers fan is the Rangers' typical advantages they would have: goaltending, special teams. They could be negated by Carolina. Carolina can hang with them. Plus, I think Carolina's got a little bit deeper defense, especially if Pesce returns to the lineup during the series. I expect 7 games, but I'm going to say Carolina returns the favor from 2022, takes this series on the road in overtime. I think we're going to get a 7th game overtime. I am just setting myself for ultimate heartbreak because that seems to be what happens every time I move to a new city. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm giving Carolina the slightest of slight edges. All right, everybody, that is my prediction for Rangers Hurricanes. I want to see your predictions. Put them right down there in the comments. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you right back here with more content from you-know-where, the Wicker Chair. Hello, Lawnmower. See you later.